What's up? Caterpie TCG here today doing my last, or I think my last, standard deck profile for Breakthrough through Crimson Invasion. So today we have Pheromosa GX. I saw this list on HeyFonte, I don't know how to pronounce it, a few days ago, and I made a couple changes to the list, but overall the list was pretty good, so I didn't change the list too much. So first we have 3 Pheromosa GX, and I actually had to read the card yesterday. I had just gotten this card yesterday, at time of recording. And I had to read all of its attacks except for the first one, because I knew what the first one did. Fast Raid, if you go first, you can attack on your first turn. So, yeah. It just does a plain 30. Without any damage enhancing tools, you can one-shot Rockruff, and Froakie, and Staryu, and I'm sure there's a few others that I can't think of right now. But you can one-shot quite a few basics if that's the only basic they have. And then, with Fury Belt and Kukui, you can one-shot pretty much every basic. So, this deck, oh, and you can one-shot Remoraid. This deck has decent dunk potential. Second attack for 2 Grass Energy is called Cruel Spike. It does 60 and then makes them confused. And this GX attack is pretty good. Beauty GX does 50 for each prize card your opponent has taken. So if you need one more knockout on like a Zoroark GX, you can just Fury Belt. If they have 4 prize cards taken, you can Fury Belt on it, Beauty GX, and game. Cruel Spike is a decent attack. It's a bit underwhelming though, because it only does 70 damage with Fury Belt. So it takes 3 hits to knock out, like, Zoroarks and Glissopods, assuming they don't flip tails at all. So it is pretty underwhelming, honestly. But the other 2 attacks are great. So, to partner with our Pheromosa GX, because it can't really attack that much, I mean, Cruel Spike you can use, it's fine, but you'd rather be using Tapu Bulu GX, which you guys probably know what that does if you've been playing for a bit. Nature's Judgment does 120, and you can discard all the energy attached to it, and it does 180. This is kind of hard to power up, so if you are having trouble powering it up, or you find yourself needing the donk with Pheromosa more often than you get it, I would take a Bulu out for a Mew, just a plain Mew, because A, it has free retreat, which allows you to retreat into your Pheromosa and Fast Raid, but it can also Fast Raid for itself, and it, of course, it's a Psychic type, so it hits Psychic for weakness, so you might want to take out a Bulu for a Mew if you find out that that is something you should do. That's a pretty good change. 2 Remoraid. This is just a pretty solid card. Well, this isn't solid. This is bad. Octillery's good, rather. Octillery, you can draw cards until you have 5 in your hand, once per turn. So, if you don't have any more cards and you still need to get something out, then you can use, Abyssal Hand, and you get more cards. Our next support Pokemon is, 2 Fomantis. This is another decent starter because you can, search your deck for a Grass Energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. So this is mainly a way to, power up Tapu Bulu, but obviously it can power up Pheromosa as well. And then 2 Lurantis. This has a Sunny Day ability where Grass and Fire Pokemon do 20 more damage. And these do stack, I believe. So if you have both of these out, it does 40 more damage. Which then 110 with a Fury Belt with that attack is worth doing with Cruel Spike. And then 3 Tapu Lele GX, just to get out your supporters. And then Energy Drive, not a bad attack, especially in decks that accelerate energy, like you can Synthesis and attach and Max Elixir on Tapu Lele, because Energy Drive is a decent attack. 4N, this is a supporter that we play in most decks, obviously, just because it's so good at drawing cards. Sycamore, same thing. Here's one change I made from the HeyFonte list. HeyFonte, I'm just gonna say HeyFonte. Is it played? I'm sorry I cannot give credit to this person right now. I will in the description. It played 4 Guzma. I took out a Guzma for a Kukui so that you can get the donk, if you need to. Because just being able to win on the first turn of the game in a tournament sets you ahead 1 game without really having to do anything. So, being able to essentially give your opponent a game loss without you really having to do much is really powerful. So as long as they have 1 60 HP basic up front, you should try to kill it. It doesn't always work, and they don't usually have that few basics, but sometimes it works, and it's good. If it doesn't work, you have other backups. 1 Brigette, if you cannot get the turn 1 donk, or if you can't donk them, then you should play Brigette turn 1, and get out, like, Pheromosas, and Remoraids, and Lurantises, or Fomantises, rather, and Remoraids. This deck plays a lot of Pokemon, and I would actually consider taking out another Guzma for a second Brigette, just because you really, really need to hit the turn 1 Brigette, because there's so many basic Pokemon in this deck that you need to get out for your strategy. 4 Ultra Ball to get out your Pokemon. Like I said, like 2 seconds ago, there are a lot of very important Pokemon. You know, you have Octillery, you have Lurantis, you have Pheromosa, Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu. So this can get out all of them. And it's especially good for evolutions because Brigette can take care of the basics. 4 Max Elixir, just energy acceleration is really good, especially when you're playing Tapu Bulu without Vigavolts. 4 Fury Belt. This serves a double purpose. It's good for, obviously, putting your Pheromosa up to 210 HP, making it harder to knock out. If your opponent doesn't, sorry, let me try and figure out what I'm trying to say here. With Riotous Beating from a Zoroark GX, with a Kukui and, Choice Band, that, I can't talk. That does 170. That's enough to one-shot a Pheromosa without a Fury Belt, so this kind of prevents that from happening. And then you also have it doing 10 more damage, and this is useful always, but especially when you need to get that 50 damage up to 60 to do the turn 1 donk. And I've seen lists for Pheromosa that are just about the turn 1 donk. This isn't what it is. This is more of a, if you can get it, go for it. If you can't get it, don't waste your time trying to. Just try to set up a better board state with things like Tapu Bulu and set up powerful Cruel Spikes and UDGX. 3 Floatstone. You have a lot of support Pokemon, and Tapu Bulu has a really heavy retreat cost, so this helps getting them back. Or, not back, but back onto the bench if you don't want them and you're active. 2 Enhanced Tammers. The meta is very special energy reliant, so this is always a help. 2 Field Blower to take care of Garbodor and any nasty tools like Choice Bands that you don't want to see. 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Super Rod. I think the original list played and 2 Super Rods. Or maybe it played 2 Rescue Stretcher, but I think 1 of each is better. That's just my personal opinion. And then I have 13 Grass Energies. So I know this has been a kind of long video, but I hope you enjoyed the video. And I think this deck actually has some decent potential. So yeah, leave a like and subscribe to Caterpie TCG for more deck profile videos like this one. That will be about half as long as this one because this is really long. Bye-bye.